Hello and welcome to season 3, episode 15 of Quaint and Cozy KC. I am your host, Lainey Renee. And as promised in my last episode, episode 14, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to start it off. Now, I do a lot of things where I talk about the places I go because people have told me I really like it when you talk about the places you go and you give descriptions. So I've kind of shied away from like the other segments of like a lot of my opinions and whatever, but I might slowly start bringing them back in just a little bit because I know people are like, girl, just tell me about the place. Okay. But first, I want to start off with defining the local weekend getaway because you know what? I'm always talking like, oh, that's going to be a great weekend getaway, and that's going to be a great day trip. And I probably should make a note to kind of define what a good day trip is to me. Again, these are just my opinions based on me, but it might give you some ideas about like kind of how you define what a good kind of local weekend getaway is. Now, for me, a local weekend getaway means I can just get in my car or, and I can first get in my car and go, or possibly train or bus or whatever, but I don't want to have to rely on somebody else that could be delayed, right? So outside of weather or wacky construction or an accident, I can just get in my car and go. So that's kind of what I think about a local weekend getaway. I know some people are like, girl, you can just hop on a plane and you're from Kansas City and be in Chicago in no time. I know, but I'm also kind of at risk for plane cancellations, all the things. So again, this is a local weekend getaway that is just boom. You get in your car, you go. So for me, the time is like I want to be able to, let's say I'm taking that Friday off from work. I want to be able to get in my car on Thursday and get there by 9 p.m., right? Like, barring any weird weather, accidents, construction, all this stuff, but really get there by 9 p.m. So it's going to be 2 to 4 hours by car for me. Okay. At the like 4 hours is really pushing it. But I prefer like 2.5 hours, right? 1 hour would be great, but that's again, I can do 1 hour, I can do a day trip out of that, right? 2.5 hours, yes. That is my premium, like my premium, my optimum, like Optimus Prime, my optimum kind of time in the car. So as I said, you can leave after work and still get there in time for a nightcap, whether that is a nightcap of a mocktail or dessert, whatever it is. And also during this, they have activities such as tours, hiking, classes, and cute little restaurants and cafes to kind of like get lost in, or some nice retail shops, some cute little cozy retail shops, like a nice little retail tea shop, something like that. Then also it's got a relaxing vibe. So I'm not going someplace where I've got to hustle and bustle for me. And again, everyone is different. Some people really want to do that local weekend getaway where it's more of a retreat where you're doing tons and tons of activities. It's not a leisurely thing where it's like, oh, hey, we're going to get there after work on Thursday, have a little nightcap Friday. We're going to get up and we're going to take like 4 classes and then we're going to go like we're going to run. And then Saturday is going to be a little bit more like some people that, again, I love that for their journey. But for me, I kind of want to do more relaxed things, like, maybe go on a cheese tour like I did when I was in Vermont, or take some kind of cooking class. Like, again, something that's, I'm not doing an intensive. Okay. I just want to do something, maybe it's like 90 minutes to 2 hours. We're just kind of kicking it and it's kind of fun. A cute restaurant, a cute diner, something just like cozy, right? Cozy retail shops, all of that stuff. I just want to relax. So that's kind of my unofficial definition of a local weekend getaway. And the reason why I'm starting to show off with this, because I want to talk to you about Salina, Kansas. I feel like we have been sleeping on Salina, Kansas. Now, listen, I used to have to go to Salina, Kansas because my mom's family was from central Kansas and my dad's family was from western Kansas. So that was like the center point. Like we'd always stop in Salina, or some relatives would meet us in Salina for whatever it was for like a couple hours and we go back to Topeka, whatever, they go back to central Kansas. So Salina was the meeting spot for a lot of things. And so I was like, okay, I had to take a trip to Western Kansas, which I'll talk about in my next episode, because it's kind of like, I don't want to junk everything up, clutter everything up. So I started off in Salina. I got there on a Thursday night after work. It was perfect. I beat a storm actually, so that was good. And then, I had to, go to Western Kansas the next day. And then I on that Saturday, because that was like a Friday, I was doing all the driving, then I came back. And so on Saturday, I'm like, okay, I'm leaving on Saturday because I had something to do in Kansas City. So I had to see a lot of people. Had to do a lot of stuff. So I got up super early, checked out of my hotel, and now again, a lot of the hotels down there, I stayed in the La Quinta by the truck stop, and it was like a pet friendly hotel, it was all that stuff. I was okay with that because I was in and out. I wasn't really there that long. I was just there to sleep mainly, so I didn't mind. But if I were there and I was really trying to enjoy Salina for what it was, I probably would stay in a different hotel. Just FYI, nothing, no disrespect to the La Quinta. It was actually, a pretty pleasant experience, but I probably stay at a different hotel because the vibe would be different. So this is kind of like a working uh vacation getaway thing. So that's why I was like fine with kind of like a hustle and bustle hotel because a lot of people were coming in and coming out. And again, they were kind of in the same thing. They were there for like a convention. I think someone was there for a convention. Someone was there just to kind of like see family. So they're in and out, in and out. Okay. So then I went to the downtown Salina to explore, and it's very walkable down there. The last time I was in Salina, it was years ago, like really staying and hanging out years ago. So I was like, oh my gosh, Salina done come up. And so yeah, very walkable. They have a sculpture tour now, like they've got like these juried sculpture. I'm like, who are you people? But they've got cute coffee shops and cute little artisan shops and that downtown was because I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do a quick little walk in downtown. You guys, I only got to 60% of the downtown because still had to go check out the farmers market and I still had to get out of town by a certain time and all that stuff. So I was like, wow. So definitely the next time I go to Salina, probably next year, since I'm kind of putting a hold on my trips after my trip to my getaway to Pittsburgh, Kansas. I'm gonna put a little hold so I can plan some local trips next year, like a little bit, more organized. Anyways, so very walkable, very cute coffee shops. Just a lot of people kind of like walk. It was hustle and bustle, and it was pretty early when I was there. I was like, oh my gosh. So then I double backed and I went to the Salinas Farmers Market, which is downtown, and it's from 7:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So it's pretty early farmers market, but I understand why because it's downtown, so that and there's so many things to do downtown that to me it's one of those things where it's like what they probably are like in my mind I'd be thinking, okay, come downtown, have breakfast, then come back through here, buy your stuff, go, kind of go home and whatever, right? It's kind of like that. I feel like it's the way they've set it up, it's more of like a, come really early for breakfast and then see the farmers market and then go versus some places have it set up where it's more that farmers market's more set up for people coming for lunch, like people are on their way to lunch and they're like, oh, here, let me just grab some things for the farmers market. That's just kind of like my view of the world there. And there's also art. So there was music because this is a bigger one, right? So, and again, in the towns like this size, theirs are going to be more event based because people, they're not, they're kind of like, okay, Salina's got this farmers market, we're going there. They're not competing with all these little towns around them so much because Salina is the main attraction. So they had music, they had like a shell there, and people were playing music. There was activities for kids, a lot of produce, lots of bakers, crafts, flowers and other services available. So this is what I would call an event kind of farmers market. So definitely a great, and again, this is a kid-friendly one as well. So after that, after I did all this at the farmers market, which I loved, I went to the Smoky Hills Museum. Now that is actually not located that far away from the farmers market. So I went there and around I think it opened at 10 a.m. So I got there probably maybe like 10 minutes before it opened. And I did that so I could kind of take pictures of the street and all of that and get a really good picture of the museum before people started parking there. I know. And it was great. It was like they did this chronological history of Salina. The staff members were very knowledgeable. They were telling me about upcoming events that they have. And apparently, and again, this is a thing we all should kind of think about. If you're someone that's not as mobile, it's too hot for you to go places. And I get that. The weather's too extreme. They have Zoom presentation. So they were telling me about a Zoom presentation that they had. And if you go to their website, smokyhillmuseum.org, you're going to find all the events. It is popping in Salina there. I'm like, y'all are doing a lot. So the moral of this whole kind of episode here is that Salina is a great weekend getaway. I would go Thursday night if I could take that Friday off. Now, because I had other things I had to attend to, I didn't, go down as well. So probably, let's say I didn't have to go to Western Kansas, I would have hit downtown first. I would have gone downtown first, done the museum that day, walked around. I think there's a zoo as well, like Rolling Hills Zoo is in Salina as well. Like I would have done that whole thing on Friday and then come back and done the farmers market on Saturday and then maybe explored a couple other things. Like I would have been because I would have already hit all of downtown on that Friday. And I probably would have explored some of the other little cute neighborhoods, but it's very cute. It's very walkable. And then they have like they've got their they've got their colleges there, cute little college campuses. It's always fun to like take pictures to me, like of like the landscaping and the historical buildings, because there are some historical buildings there, to take pictures of all of that stuff. But this is to me a great weekend holiday. Think about this when you're going. I know summer is kind of winding up. A nice little fall trip, probably really fun in going there like in, May, early June as well, before it gets super, 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 super hot. Um, and it just has a nice vibe. I bet fall there is gorgeous. And the whole reason why I do these things because again, me 10 years ago would never have thought y'all should go to Salina. I mean, Salina looked different, but regardless, like I still had that mentality of like there's nothing good in the Midwest. Everything is on the coast. I still had that, or Chicago. I still had that mentality. And now I'm so glad that I don't have that mentality because it's freed me up and to enjoy experiences, to enjoy where I live. Like, kind of, there's this whole movement of love the home you're in. Well, do what you can because every place is different to love the city you're in, or at least if you can't love the city, maybe there's the county or whatever it is, like within an hour driving distance. Please try to love that so that you can kind of keep going in life because there's nothing worse than living someplace where you can't see the joy. And again, sometimes towns and cities create it so it's hard to see joy. But from my perspective, like I've never lived someplace so bad that I couldn't find some joy. I just was refusing to look at any glimmer of joy. I was like, no, it's all bad. So this is kind of something for people who had to move back, maybe because someone, parents needed you to move back, or, you had some kids, you want to raise your family. There are lots of things. You might have got priced out of where you were living, all the things. So you can find those glimmers there, even if, as I had to realize, well, there's no ocean here because I'd lived in Newport, Rhode Island. I'd lived in California. There's no mountains here because I'd lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I was like, mountains, mountains, so it's really kind of difficult to like really find. And even in Minnesota, when I was living there, all the lakes, like I really had to find that joy. And again, we have lakes here, we have museums here, we do not have mountains here, but we do have the Flint Hills. And that's another place I haven't explored there in years. So that's another place that is on my list to explore. And I never run out of places to explore. Definitely never do that. So again, that's all a part of the Quaint and Cozy KC lifestyle. Now I'm going to step off that soapbox and I'm going to give you a preview of Newton, Kansas. So I have cousins in Newton. And again, this was one of those trips where you're just packing everything in. And so I went and I had pizza, like a little pizza party with them. And so that was fun, like stayed for like maybe a couple hours, whatever. And so I had to go back to Salina and I was like, I didn't have enough time to stop and explore Newton, but that is on my list. And also on my way, I passed Lindsborg, which is kind of like Little Sweden in Kansas. And I remember going there as a kid to kind of explore there. I think my friend had relatives there, so I was visiting her for like a weekend. And so that's another cute little place. It's got a cute little downtown. So that's on my list as well. But again, the good news is I never run out of towns here. There's never, like there's always something for me to see for the first time or something for me to like revisit. So I'm very excited. Like that's just a little preview of Lindsborg, Kansas. They have cute little retail shops and cute little, cafes and stuff like that. And again, it's a perfect kind of little weekend getaway. It's a little bit further than Salina, but it's still within the 4 hour thing that I like to deal with. And I think with Lindsborg, what I would do is instead of taking that Thursday out, like what I would do is I probably would take off Friday and then just drive into town and, explore Lindsborg, and then go and stay and then also go to Newton because Newton's not very far away from Lindsborg. And then go back to Salina, stay in Salina, and then leave on Sunday. So again, I would be packing it in, but again, when it's within an hour drive, and sometimes, when I do go back to Columbia, when I do that next year, I'm going to do that next year. I will go to Herman. So I'm going to stay in Columbia, Missouri, and then drive to Herman, which is an hour away for lunch, explore that, come back and stay in Columbia. Also, really, again, look if it's within an hour of a drive from where you're staying, For me, I'm like, okay, I can totally do it. If it becomes 90 minutes, I'm like, mm-mm. And if it's 2 hours away from the place I'm like, you know what? That's a lot. It's a lot. So again, within an hour, 90 minutes, I'm totally game for, exploring just a little bit more, just going just a little bit further with it. And on that note, you can find me at quaintandcozykc.com. You can find me at Quaint and Cozy KC on Facebook. I'm on the Instagram, Quaint and Cozy KC, or I think they call it the Gram, on Quaint and Cozy KC. Also on the Tickety Tockety Quaint and Cozy KC, and on YouTube, as I stated in my last episode, I am, uploading the ones that are video enabled. Now I can't do all of them because I was recording straight on to like before Spotify bought Anchor. I was doing that, and so I didn't have a video capability with that, so I wasn't able to upload those. Like my first couple seasons, I can't upload to YouTube, but I can upload, the more recent ones because I started using Zoom and they have that video component. I'm not on video, but it does have like that thing where it just uploads, both formats. And so thankful for that. And so I'm on that, and I'm also expanding my Aunt Lainey's kitchen. So you guys are going to be like, dang girl, you everywhere. Yes, I'm trying to be Ms. Midwest wide, right? Not Pitbull. I'm not trying to be Mr. Worldwide, Ms. Worldwide, but maybe mid Ms. Midwest White. I know I'm just like geeking out today. So, anyways, I will see you for the next episode. That's when I'm going to talk about my adventures in Western Kansas. And yes, like there's a whole thing. Like I discovered like there's some really cool little spaces and spots there to kind of check out. Okay, on that note, I will talk to you soon. Have fun, everyone.